Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most requested video. This is going to be the 5-star legendary gem tier list. What I'm going to be doing is this from the necromancer's perspective because that's what I've played and know the most. However, I would describe each gem and talk about them in particular so you can, by the end of this video, understand where you think each of these gems have their uses and whether or not I actually like them and where my general ranking of them is. I'm going to go left to right in no particular order here. We're going to be starting with Blessing of the Worthy. Now, this is the one that you can buy out of the shop itself. Blessing of the Worthy, in my personal opinion, is either A or S tier. I'm going to put it in the A tier for right now until we get going with the list and see how I think it stacks up. Reason being, Blessing of the Worthy does fairly significant damage in AoE when you are struck based upon your max health. It scales very well with welling, and it's one of the shops that comes out of the actual well shop itself. You can straight up well for it. So for that reason, it scales well as a pay-to-win gem. On top of it, I think the Blessing of Worthy itself is good on melee people. It's especially good on Barbarian, who jumps in and has the cheat death type of mechanics. So you know you're probably going to get at least one proc of it off in any given battle. And for that reason, I think Blessing of the Worthy can be quite good on melees. It's also good for clearing mobs because the cooldown is only 20 seconds on, and you can do it for most major mod packs. Now, I'm going to go to Echoing Shade. For me personally, Echoing Shade is either B or C tier. I'm probably going to go C tier for now. Echoing Shade will duplicate another clone of you that also will do some of your abilities, but the abilities are at random from what I can tell. It doesn't actually duplicate 100%. I've tested this out a little bit, but after using the gem, I ended up just using it for fodder because I didn't like it too much. If somebody else is able to use this, maybe combined with some other gem like Follower's Burden, or has like the summoning set, maybe for like the Shepherd set, I could see maybe the Echoing Shade being a little bit better, but for me in its current iteration, I just wasn't really that excited by it. We're gonna move on to zwinsons. I actually think zwinsons is either A or S tier in my own personal opinion. I think zwinsons Haunting is a farming gem. I'm gonna put it up there right next to Blessing of the Worthy. I think people are sleeping on it a little bit. Essentially what it does is when you kill a minion, you're going to proc this purple AoE that comes from the sky and just does a low splash of damage. That splash of damage can actually hit pretty hard. And here's the thing. When you activate it at rank 3, you get a secondary one. It says it summons like a dragon or something, which isn't, that's literally not even a thing. There's no dark beast. It's just an AoE purple splash is what it actually does. So because it's AoE damage, it can help you execute minions fairly well. And I think it's good for clearing packs and especially good for overworld farming and clearing trash mobs. It would be an A or an S tier for me. I do use it currently on my Necromancer. Seeping Bile is easily an S tier. I don't think there's any argument here. Seeping Bile might be the best gem in the entire game. It has the ability to proc off your continual damage to be able to poison. So what it does is it effectively adds a poison, but on rank 3, it adds a slow as well. And it has the attempt to trigger this. There's a cooldown on it, but that's the attempt to trigger this continually over time. So like, let me show you, actually, I just want to pull down this screen just real quick on this one, because I actually think this is an important gem, especially for Necromancer. So if you look at the way it works, 4% chance to poison enemies, inflicting 30% base damage plus 263 every second for 6 seconds, and then decreases movement speed by 6%. You need the rank 3 for the decreased movement speed. But then this poison spreads to nearby enemies if the victim dies. Cannot affect the same target more often than once every 20 seconds, which you don't have to worry about it affecting the same target, because when it dies, it's going to a different target. It's sort of like the old Affliction Warlock type of thing from back in the day. And wow, I actually like it a good deal. I think Seeping Bile is quite insane, especially when paired with like Zwinsons Haunting and you're going through and you're like clearing out the mobs. I think if you get Seeping Bile, this is one of the ones you want to use for sure. I have a 4 out of 5 star. I think it would be just as good as with a 2 out of 5 star. Obviously, the higher the star, the better the stats, but I think the passive itself is still quite good. Definitely an S tier. There is no argument there. I also think Howlers Call is currently an S tier. Howlers Call is kind of a weird one. So essentially, I'm going to paraphrase what it does. Basically, it has a chance to summon like a wolf that's like in a skill shot. So it's almost like having a 5th move on your bar that just passively activates, but it can be really useful when you're clearing either trash mobs in a group in like a dungeon where you need like some kind of hard-hitting damage, because they are trash mobs, but they still have some health behind them. And it's especially good in PvP where burst damage is everything. And when you're actually in a lane, because in PvP, you're quite often in a lane trying to push something, having the Howlers Call activate will go down a huge chunk of the lane and push people back, which is really what you need. You need to buy time in the PvP game modes. I think Howlers Call is definitely a top tier gem in my personal opinion, so it would be in the S tier for me. This is Blood-Soaked Jade. I'm not sure if the image is 100% right on this one, but Blood-Soaked Jade is going to be an S tier for me as well. It is either the second best or it's going to be better than Seeping Bile in my own personal opinion. It's just movement speed and damage. That's basically what you need to know about this gem. That's all you really need. Movement speed and damage, and that's pretty much what every gem that you want out of it is going to give you. However, one thing to keep in mind is you got to keep your HP fairly full with the Blood-Soaked Jade. So I would actually try to keep your health maxed out as much as possible. It might be better for people that don't have like low HP type of builds, but still Blood-Soaked Jade is so good that basically anyone who gets it, you're going to be running it. It's up there. It's up there with either the best or the second best gem, like I said. This puts me the Bottled Hope. Now, I used to think Bottled Hope was like B tier, but now I'm starting to believe Bottled Hope is A to potentially S tier. I'm going to put it in A tier. Now, I actually want to show you guys this one real quick so you can read exactly what it does. So Bottled Hope itself, when you use a skill to ground a buff, increase the damage and movement speed of the target by 13.5% because it's at rank 4, but whatever percentage you're at, for 6 seconds. Cannot occur more often than once every 20 seconds per target. Skill cooldowns decreased. Skill cooldown decreased happens at rank 3, and increasing the cooldown is pretty insane in my own personal opinion, being able to have an additional cooldown, because if you have Bottled Hope giving a nice movement speed, nice damage buff, and like I said, like with Blood-Soaked Jade, where it does movement and damage, that's all you really want, really helps with farming. In addition, it's party-wide. In addition, it can be triggered by set bonuses to increase the duration of the actual effect of the Bottled Hope itself as well. That's a hot little tip. So there's multiple reasons why this one can be good, especially if you're somebody like the Crusader who's putting down the banner and putting crit chance across everybody. And at the same time, if you're buffing them, you're also, in addition, you're giving them the bonus damage too. It works with the Barbarian's Warrior Shout, and it works with Bone Armors and Necromancers. So in my personal opinion, I think Bottled Hope is A tier, and I couldn't put it in the same tier as Seeping Bile, but I could put it right next to it, okay? Our first B tier is going to come up at Chip of the Stone Flesh. Now, here's the thing about this one. It's not bad if you have a character that has a hard-hitting CC. I was talking to Deadwood Jedi last night. He was using the Monk, and he found this to be pretty decent on the Monk. He did this big grouping knockup, which also then triggered the damage. What this one basically does is damage that you deal to someone while you crowd control them is then added onto like an explosive curse and blows up at the end. And it's kind of cool. It can be kind of hard to get it to trigger for some reason. It seems like both the Bottled Hope has interesting mechanics as well as the Chip of Stone Flesh. So I'm a little hesitant to recommend this one. I do use it myself, but as a Necromancer, it's harder to effectively trigger the effect of it because it needs to actually remove the control of people. So you can't slow somebody and get the effect of the Chip of Stone Flesh. If you actually look at the gem itself, what it does is when you cause an enemy loss of control, you inflict explosive curse that when it expires, you deal the damage. And so what you need to actually do is inflict total loss of control, like a stun on the person. So for that reason, it can be a little bit difficult. And because stuns typically have a longer cooldown, it's not as good for farming, which is where it would probably be good if the cooldown was not as significant, in my own personal opinion, which is 20 seconds. Now, here we'll remove the follows off the screen real quick for the last one. Okay, so last one here, Phoenix Ashes. Oh boy, where's Phoenix Ashes go? Here's the thing, if you're a Barbarian, it's S tier, in my own personal opinion. Because Barbarians are all about just stalling and running back with their invincible health. However, if you're not Barbarian, it probably falls to C tier. I think currently at the moment, it falls prey to the fact that you need it to be able to be at least rank 3, to be able to do the heal from it, and that the fact that when you're basically dying, having a shield come up isn't really going to save you in most situations. If you're dying in PvP, you're probably getting outnumbered, grouped up, or hardcore CC down, and the Phoenix Ashes most time won't save you. It's only really good in the Barbarian when you run in, cheat death, proc it, and then run away while it's going on if you can. And it doesn't increase your damage, really. The only thing it's really got going for it is the fact it's a 5-star. I don't personally like this one. Maybe I could say it's a B tier. Okay, maybe I could bump it up to B tier. Maybe I'm being a little harsh on it. I just don't like the fact that it doesn't increase my offensive potential literally at all, other than just the stats I have. These are the way that I currently see these gems. That doesn't mean that this is the only opinion that's right. That doesn't mean it's correct for every class. And this is the first iteration of said tier list. I typically don't like doing tier lists because then people in the comments are just going to leave, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about this. And it's arguing about which position it is on the tier list instead of just trying to help people and inform people about where the gems are good, etc. But hopefully this one did do the in-between if people like to talk about the tier list, and people have been asking me to do a legendary tier list so much, and hopefully you got some useful information out of it as well. Consider subscribing to the channel for more Diablo Immortal helpful related content. Hit the like button for the effort, and I'll see you on the next video.